Well, I believe very much in service. It's the basis of what I do. It's how I became a U.S. Senator. I served in the military, and I've always felt that for everything that this country has given to me, it's the least I can do to serve her. And so everything from, a childhood spent hungry and getting food stamps to a college education at a state university to my service in the Army, it's always been a part of, my upbringing to serve and give something back. Well, I think Rockford is a great example of so many of the cities across, not just Illinois, but across the Midwest, that people think of as cities that are struggling, cities that really face some significant challenges, but also a city that is led by really good leadership that is trying to turn that around. Mayor McNamara and what he's doing for the city, bringing in new businesses, but also fixing the utilities, fixing the water supply so that we get lead out of the drinking water here, working with a law enforcement community. I think Rockford is a great example. It's a microcosm of what cities, the challenges, but also how we're overcoming those challenges across the country. Well, investing in communities that have been forgotten for far too long is a passion of mine because I lived in this part of the state. I have seen so many cities that have been forgotten, driven through towns that have been abandoned, and saw the gradual decline. And I really feel that, we can't make all of our investments in the big cities across this country. There's so many cities where working families are trying to pay the mortgage and send their kids to school and make their way towards retirement. It's just as important to make investments in cities like Rockford or Beloit or Belvedere as it is to make investments in Chicago. And so I think it is important for us as a nation to realize that America is more than just the big marquee cities. Well, as we were looking for places to do service projects, we reached out to local leaders and they said this was really a great place to come. I had not visited CCS before, and when we heard what the mission was, we said this is perfect. This is exactly what I'm interested in. It's about service. It's about a community helping and working to change itself and to elevate itself, and also giving people second, third, fourth chances to turn their lives around, especially those who are in the most need of help. I feel very strongly that America is a country where if you're on your knees, but you're not going to give up and you're going to keep trying, then we're going to be there to give you a hand to help you back up on your feet. And that's exactly what CCS is doing. Well, I have a passion for investing in the youth because I was invested in. When I was a teenager and hungry, on food stamps, my dad hadn't had a job. I was the only one in my family who held down a job, and I made minimum wage, and we were always on the verge of homelessness. Many dinners I didn't eat. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to drink water because my stomach was growling. And there were investments made in me, both by the nation and by my community. It was, the nation made sure there were food stamps so that I could eat. The nation made sure that there were public schools, so that I could go to a public school and not have my future denied to me because we couldn't afford tuition. That the state made sure that there was a good state school that I could attend for university. And then the community, the local American Legion Post gave my dad money to help us pay our rent. My high school English teacher bought me dinner many, many nights. Wasn't a lot, but this public school teacher reached into his pocket and bought food for all the food stamp kids. And so those investments came to me at a point in my life when I was 15, 16. And I was at a crossroads. Do I drop out of school and get a second job and a third job so my family could eat and have a roof over their heads? Or do I persevere and finish school and get my high school diploma and go on to college? And at that point, a lot of different people on their own made those investments in me so that I took that other path, the path towards staying in school, finishing my education, which then allowed me to serve in the military, which then set me up to serve now as your United States Senator. And so I believe very strongly in youth and investment in youth, especially those who are facing the most challenges, because when I had those challenges, people made them for me. Not to overlook someone. You never know who is going to be the person who's pivotal in what you're trying to do. So don't judge someone based on where they are in their life at the time. You know, when I was in my helicopter and I was shot down in Iraq, the person who was most important after we were shot down was actually the lowest ranking, youngest person on my crew, who actually stood the perimeter and protected us while I was being evacuated. So often I found that it's the janitor in your school, or, you know, in my case, it was my high school English teacher who was feeding us. You know, it wasn't some big program. It wasn't, you know, the principal. It wasn't the superintendent. It was a high school English teacher who was on his own feeding us. So don't overlook people who could be contributors to your effort, and don't overlook people who, you know, maybe need a second chance or a third chance, because you never know. And especially in politics, that's very true. I lost my first election, and it was my second chance that I won. Senator Durbin lost 3 elections before he won. So don't give up on someone just because they don't make it on the first try.